In the last videos, we learned what authorization is and how it differs from authentication, and why broken access control is dangerous. In this video, we will first understand what authorization models are and the different types used in applications. Then we will focus on RBAC, the most commonly used authorization model, and finally see how RBAC is implemented in backend application with real code example. There are multiple ways to design authorization. Some applications use roles, some uses attributes, and some uses policies. In this video, we will focus on the most commonly used model in backend applications, RBAC. RBAC stands for Role-Based Access Control. In this model, we do not give permission directly to users. Instead, we assign a role to a user, and that role decides what actions are allowed. So the flow is very simple. A user gets a role, and that role has a set of permissions. For example, an admin role might be allowed to create or delete users, while a normal user might only be allowed to view their own data. RBAC is popular because it's simple and practical. Developers can easily understand roles like admin, manager, and a normal user. It's also easy to implement on the back end. Most frameworks already support role-based checks using middleware or guards. That's why RBAC is widely used in real-world applications, from admin dashboards and CMS systems to enterprise and SaaS backends. Now let's look at a real backend system in which admins are allowed to create, update, and delete courses, while normal users can only read course data. This example will be implemented using Express.js, which is a popular backend framework built on Node.js. In the following code example, you can see the routes responsible for reading, creating, updating, and deleting courses. We have added the verified token middleware to these routes, which means only authenticated users with a valid token are allowed to access them. In this middleware, we also extract user role from this token, which helps identify user role. If you want to know more about how user authentication and how this token generated, you can see my previous video on authentication versus authorization. Once the token is successfully verified, the request moves forward and the corresponding controller functions such as create codes are executed. However, there is a problem here. At this point, any authenticated user, whether an admin or a normal user, can access these roles. But in our system, we want to restrict certain actions to specific roles, like only admin can access certain routes. We can solve this by introducing an isAdmin middleware function, which we later apply to our routes. The name is not special. Middleware can be named anything. But where does the user role information came from? The user role information is actually coming from verified token middleware, which we have extracted from the JWT token. That role value passes to the isAdmin middleware, which we can access in the request parameter as request.user.role. So it's necessary that verified token middleware must run before isAdmin middleware. If the value received is admin, the request is allowed to continue. If the user role is not admin, the backend immediately returns an error response. Now let's see how we apply this middleware to our routes. In the following code example, you can see that we apply the isAdmin middleware only to the routes responsible for creating, updating, and deleting courses. As a result, these routes can now be accessed only by users with the admin role. If a normal user tries to access any of these routes, the backend will return an error response. Notice that we do not apply the isAdmin middleware to the read course routes. This means both admin and normal users are allowed to view courses data. That is exactly we are trying to implement in our application. With this approach, we have implemented a very simple role-based access control model where access to the backend APIs is decided based on the user role. In the upcoming videos, we look at the most common security mistakes developers make when implementing RBAC system. We will break down why these mistakes happen, how attackers take advantage of them, and what developers can do to fix them properly. To understand this better, I have created a practice-based packet system that intentionally contains multiple broken access control vulnerabilities. Throughout this series, we will gradually fix these vulnerabilities step by step while learning secure authorization concepts in a practical way. I have provided the full GitHub repository link for this project in the description. You can run this backend server locally on your machine and use Postman to send API requests. If you face any difficulty while setting up this project, feel free to contact me. I will try to help. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in comments section, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.